The war on drugs is playing out front and center in California, along the border, of course, but more recently in central California, where 6 people were gunned down in a mass shooting in Tulare County. The sheriff there saying the murders are linked to the drug cartel.
We are joined now by Glod. Greg is a drug policy reform expert and the co-host of The War on Drugs, which is a new podcast that is streaming today. That's what it looks like, streaming everywhere. Congratulations on the launch of the podcast. Thanks for being here.
Oh, thanks for having me on.
So what is the podcast?
Yeah, absolutely. So me and my co-host Clayton English, he's a comedian, he's an actor. If you do a lot of watch some of the Marvel shows, he's on Hawkeye on Disney. Got to give a quick plug for him. And so, you know, he has this lived experience kind of dealing with the war on drugs, being a black man in Atlanta. And I do not have that same experience with the war on drugs, kind of being a white suburban guy from Annapolis. And so I come from a policy perspective, kind of on the war on drugs, and he kind of comes from a lived experience perspective on it. And really what we want to show is the war on drugs just impacts our daily lives, regardless of if you are an addict, know someone, or have no experience with narcotics whatsoever. It's going to impact the social fabric of America, and it has for, you know, the past 50 years.
I listened to episode 1 today, and one of the things that really struck me was when you said that we cannot incarcerate our way out of addiction. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, I mean, we've been trying to do that for the past 50, 60 years, you know, starting with Richard Nixon's war on drugs, you know, when he declared that. What we've been trying to do is higher incarceration rates, essentially arrest our way out of it. You know, incarceration's gone up 400–500% since the 1960s and up to today, and we're actually seeing more overdose deaths. We're seeing less people being able to recover from addiction, and the drugs are getting stronger on the outside. Now, fentanyl is overtaking. Heroin's not even really a drug that's out in the streets anymore. Fentanyl's actually overtaking that, and so we're seeing more people get arrested, more people get incarcerated, and addiction's even worse. So obviously there's been a failure, and we can't keep doing the same things that we've done for decades now.
What do you think is sort of the most surprising thing you learned, or maybe the thing that people get wrong when it comes to this war on drugs?
Yeah, so I think the one thing that we get wrong is that someone's just going to be, you know, this nice, fine person walking down the street, they get drugs once and they're hooked for the rest of their lives. That we have this chemical reaction. That's all the Just Say No campaigns that we all grew up with, you know, in the 80s and 90s. And it's a lot more complicated than that. It's about what's going on in your world and your social, you know, kind of unrest that happens. You know, we saw this massive rise in addiction after COVID when we were not, you know, we didn't have this kind of social interaction. We lost a lot of our jobs or programming or interaction with people. And you're seeing more and more young children go through depression and struggling. And so it's much more social, interactive what's going on rather than just some chemical reaction that happens and now you're an addict. It's much more complicated than that, and that's how we've been trying to deal with it for a very long time.
Where do you hope your podcast goes in terms of impact? Who do you want to be listening to this to affect change?
Yeah, really anyone from just kind of the person that's doesn't know anything about this, to someone who has gone through addiction, to someone who's had to deal with someone that has been going through addiction, to police officers, to lawmakers. A lot of the work that I do at Stand Together Americans for Prosperity, where I work, is a lot of, you know, changing the narrative and changing that social construct of what you think about this. So really anyone that has either no perception or already have a perceived perception about what addiction is, what the war on drugs is, I think anyone will really get a lot out of it, for sure.
Well, it is one of the biggest issues in America. It is not talked about enough.
I agree.
There's not enough understanding of it, so thank you for your contribution on that. Again, the War on Drugs podcast dropped today. The first 2 episodes available to stream right now. Greg, congratulations. Thanks for coming in.
I appreciate it. Thank you all.
Nice to meet you.
Thanks.